episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
Josh Knight the First.
And this is Beyond the Black Rims, Season 8, Episode 18.
Or Episode 184 if you're counting.
Thank you once again, John, for the hosts. Thank you, as always, to the Patreon contributors at patreon.com/MarsGirl, who make this and all kinds of other stuff we do possible. I want to bring attention to the fact that I just finished wrapping up a video that's now available publicly. I was given a box by Anime Bento, and that box arrived at my doorstep all covered in rainwater, and that wasn't Anime Bento's fault, but yay, at least the stuff arrived, and I'm glad that it did, and it arrived relatively undamaged despite the rain, so that's good. It all ended up okay.
But you're missing the most important part.
And what was the most important part?
You gave me the candy that was inside
I did give you the candy, and the candy, to me, was not especially tasty, but you liked it.
Yeah, because I like cola-flavored things a lot more than you do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember I was watching the video, and you were commenting on you couldn't quite put a name to what it was like as far as the way it dissolved. It reminded me of Haichu.
Yeah,
I don't know if any of you guys have had Haichu. It's basically like a stronger Starburst is how I would compare it. But the way that dissolves, that's how this dissolves. It's just in a chewing gum shape.
Interestingly enough, our chat room here is popping up slightly differently than it usually does. At least now it's kind of legible, but it's also disappearing very, very quickly since we had to restart the broadcast program. But I don't know, maybe it's cooler that way.
I'll go with it.
Maybe it's more legible that way. Yeah.
We're gonna go with it.
Deja vu. I was just been in this place before.
That's the other thing you've been getting back into your system is all these Initial D memes.
Well, yeah, because Initial D memes have made a resurgence all these years later, and I held on to Eurobeat for over a decade, waiting for this day, and now Eurobeat is back in fashion as far as memes are
not quite taffy textured, but it's textured like chewing gum. It just disappears. Yeah. So what'd we do this week, Kaylin?
This past week was Independence Day
here
in America.
That was Tuesday.
Yeah, that was Tuesday. So it was a very American holiday in which we traveled to Mexico.
Yes, we went to Mexico for Independence Day.
Yeah, so I was talking about this a little earlier. We went to Nuevo Progreso. There's a town on the Texas side called Progreso, and then you cross over the bridge and it's Nuevo Progreso.
Yes.
Thank you, Evil Nom, for the host. So it's a very staunch, like, it looks like Mexico as soon as you walk over, and really it's not all that bad. I wouldn't have gone to any other town. There's really not a better entrance other than there, and I wouldn't have gone any farther in than where we went in Nuevo Progreso.
Right.
However, it really wasn't so bad.
No, we had a great time.
The most overwhelming experience was just everybody wants your attention, and everybody wants you to buy
your business
stuff. Yeah, and most people there were shouting English at you. So
yeah, everybody there was fluent in both languages for the most part. You know, it wasn't hard to navigate. Granted, we only went in about 2 blocks, 3 max.
Yeah,
but it was great. You know, the food. Authentic Mexican food in Mexico. You were so happy with the green sauce because I don't know how any of you guys do your Mexican restaurants where you're from, but here in the South and South Texas, Tex-Mex is a big part of the culture, and that food comes with certain sauces that come with chips. Different salsas, and the green one is always the hotter of the two. Which you prefer.
Yes, and that was habanero sauce that they had there. I could at least tell that much from the bottle. I wish I had taken a picture of what brand that sauce was.
Because now you can't remember.
Now I don't know, but I know it was this green habanero sauce, and it was so good. And we brought back, like, Mexican candy and Mexican drinks, and I plan on trying some of that in a video.
But you did smuggle out a refugee.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I did. Because, meet Mexican Charmander. Oh, bootleg little...
I call it Charmandera.
He's so... Oh, those eyes. And the derpy kind of stitching on the back. Oh, he's so perfect. And the little flame tail. Oh, he's incredible. I love him. I absolutely love him.
Like, you wanted him so... Like, you don't hardly go for stuffed animals like some other people do, but as soon as you saw him...
There was something so sweet and innocent about this thing. Oh, yeah, I love it. I thought he was so great. There was a Pikachu, but Pikachu's face kind of freaked me out. It was so pinched into the middle of that thing.
Well, yeah, but we already have a Pikachu.
Yeah, exactly, and I don't need another Pikachu.
So we went to Mexico to get Charizard. Now we got to go back to Canada to get Squirtle, and we'll go to Germany to get Bulbasaur. And then you'll have all your starters.
Yeah, basically.
From different countries.
Basically, yeah. So yeah, that's a whole bunch of stuff that happened.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of stuff went down this past week.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be talking about the stuff that we're going to be talking about on the show today?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. So our first story that's going to be coming up a little bit later is in regards to Overwatch. You know we like Overwatch around here.
You know I love Overwatch.
It's been a year of Overwatch, and now Doomfist is finally a thing.
Yes!
So Josh has been waiting.
Finally!
So we've got a lot of Doomfist to talk about.
Yes.
And so Josh will probably head that off and helmet for us.
For the most part,
and
yes.
I will participate in the conversation.
Yes, our second story of the evening, really oddly enough, since we're right on the eve of the Netflix premiere of this new animated Castlevania series, the person doing that series, Eddie Shankar, just announced that he will be doing an animated adaptation of Assassin's Creed. So we're going to be talking to you guys about that, what we're looking to expect from that, what possible storylines they're going to pull from the video games, and what we can expect compared to what we're about to see from Castlevania.
Right. And then finally, our third news story is, I didn't realize this was going to be a thing.
This is another one of those things that popped up right before we started getting the stuff ready.
Well, I guess I should have known about it before because there's a trailer that debuted back in June, but now a show is finally happening this weekend, a live game show based on the mobile game Candy Crush.
I don't even...
It's a thing that exists now, and we're going to talk about it existing and why on earth does it exist, and how does it function, and will it actually be successful?
Yes.
We'll find out, guys. We'll just wait and see.
Yes.
But until we get up to these stories, I know, Josh, you've got some follow-ups for me.
Of course.
Please tell me about said follow-ups. Tell me what's going on.
All right, let's talk about the follow-ups. First and foremost, no, not quite Justice League this week.
Really?
Yes, you got lucky.
You need to warn me about these things.
But you're always happy when I don't bring it up.
I am happy, but you always tell me that we need to talk about it, and so I always leave the picture in here.
Gotta keep you on your toes.
Oh my god. Alright, anyway.
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about a different member of the Justice League, that being Batman.
Okay.
So director Matt Reeves has talked a little bit more now, since he's getting done with the press tour for his latest Planet of the Apes movie, talking about the kind of things that he's going to have to bring in to the Batman, the movie that he'll be directing. So he's talking about getting to the emotional core of what makes Batman Batman, because as he states, that's the whole reason he was brought on and connected to the Planet of the Apes franchise, in that as a kid he obsessed over it, just like he did with Batman, and it's at the same time there's still an emotional core that he can pull from his childhood and wanting to put that on the big screen. That's the same fervor that he's going to bring to the Batman. That being compiled with all the other news talking about how it's going to be a detective noir thriller, Hitchcockian in a way. I want to believe in him that this is exactly what's going on. Now, mind you, I haven't seen this latest Planet of the Apes yet, of course not. I still have to catch the last one to catch up the gap in between. But that having been said, if he's playing that much to, no, I want to get to the core of what makes the character, and he's not talking about flash, like, you know, what he puts on the screen.
Right.
He's not talking about, oh, these are the cool gadgets. No, it's about the story, about detective work.
Well, good.
Then, yeah, good. I hope that's exactly what they're going to be bringing to the screen.
I hope
because
so,
we
too.
sorely need it.
Definitely.
Okay, so now we have to get right into the Marvel news, since there's a couple of things here. So first off, with Infinity War, there have been... Bless you.
Thank you. Please continue.
There have been several set pictures being put out right now for the movie, as they're still filming right now. Paul Rudd was seen on set filming his portion of Infinity War, since Ant-Man and the Wasp has apparently already started filming, so he's kind of doing double duty there.
Oh yeah,
in between the two. And there's also some spoilery pics, which I will not bring up to you. Just be aware that they're out there and that they do involve Doctor Strange.
Okay.
So if you're going through websites right now and you don't want to know too much about the plot, be wary. If you start seeing them mention Doctor Strange, you might want to stay away. Of course, that ties into this weekend. We will see Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes.
I appreciate, again, we should have said at the top, we appreciate those of you who have come out tonight live.
There's people out seeing it right now.
Yeah, there's people out seeing it right now, and for good reason. We'll be seeing it in another day or so, because we already bought our tickets.
Yes.
Go Draft House. But unfortunately, Marvel has already let people know that there's one scene in particular that was shown in the trailers, in the commercials, that is not going to show up in the movie, and that would be the money shot of Spider-Man swinging and Iron Man flying right next to him. This shot from the first full trailer that we got, that was just for show.
That's disappointing.
That's disappointing.
All right.
Now, I imagine they wanted to let people know that before they found out on their own.
And then got all angry and disappointed and upset.
Why didn't you tell us? And now it's like, okay, we told you. Sorry.
Well, maybe it's because something better is there.
I can only hope so. I hear good things about what the post-credit scenes are. I think there's 2 of them.
Okay.
For this movie. I don't know what they are yet. If any of you guys know, don't tell me. Give me 2 more days. Talk about it next week.
All right, cool.
Okay, so moving over to a little bit of other Marvel news. So Deadpool 2 has already started filming.
Cool.
We're already starting to get set pics. Unfortunately, nothing yet of Josh Brolin, but we do see Ryan Reynolds there on set as Deadpool. Of course, wearing the same kind of... It's the same costume. Of course, he's got the eyes removed because they'll do that over in post with the CG to make them more expressive. But we're still holding out just a little bit longer before we can actually see the reveal of Josh Brolin as Cable. All right, so moving over to Hellboy news. So it looks like Lionsgate Films will be the one to potentially put out this new Hellboy franchise. We're hoping to go ahead and get that locked down soon and hear that, yes, Lionsgate will be the official distributor. Right now, they're in talks, but nothing is confirmed. Okay. But they're the front runner right now. They're the ones talking to everybody about it. Like, yeah, we're interested. What do you got?
I mean, do you think that they're going to be competent enough to handle it?
Well, as fine as distribution, so long as they stick distribution, that's fine. I know it's not New Line, because New Line was the one that originally did it, but I guess because of distance, you know, you don't want to tie too much back to the older franchise from Guillermo, that you want to make your own identity, so I kind of get why they would switch that up a bit.
Okay, cool.
You go where the money is.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to some other news here, talking about San Diego Comic-Con. So in specific, Voltron will have quite the presence there at San Diego Comic-Con, as they're letting us know. They're on Thursday morning there at Comic-Con. They will have their Voltron panel starting at 10:30.
Awesome. More Voltron's always better.
Yes, and we're going to get more footage there of Season 3. We're going to see if we can find out what happened to Keith. We'll have a few of the voice actors there. Bex Taylor Klaus, who plays Paige there on the show. Just as well, we've also got this picture of something that they're going to have there, which is Hunk's food truck, which they will have there all weekend, which will be serving space goo.
It's very in character.
Yes, very in character. No word on whether or not a Hunk cosplayer will be manning the booth, but they have noted that for some reason the green space goo's going to taste an awful lot like frozen yogurt.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
Yes.
That's fine with me.
So if any of you were worried about that, it's frozen yogurt.
It's yogurt.
So yeah, for any of you who are going out there to San Diego Comic-Con, try that, and I will be jealous.
Yes, very.
Okay, so let's move on to some other news here. Big update from Godzilla Monster Planet. So just earlier today, we got a first look at a teaser trailer for the project. This, of course, will be airing on Netflix later this year and in several different countries around the world. Gave us our first look at Godzilla in motion. Not too much more than what we got. Of course, they're going with the Legendary Pictures design. This, of course, revolving around a plot where humanity has had to leave the planet Earth because kaiju have taken over, and are now coming back many, many years later to take it back from Godzilla. So hopefully we'll be getting a longer trailer. It's in this kind of a popularized 3D...
It's a CG anime, kind of a cel-shaded CG.
Like Knights of Sidonia, the same studio that did that is doing this. So if you like that series, like that animation, it looks like that.
Hopefully it looks better than Berserk.
Yes. Much better than Berserk. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Anime Expo. So Anime Expo was this past weekend, setting records for attendance, also setting records for the amount of people having to wait to get in the dang thing.
Yeah. What is it, a 2-hour wait outside?
Yes, at certain points on Saturday, the line was just out the door, down several blocks.
A couple of miles, right? Like
about 2 miles. They're about. So the Society for the Promotion of Japanese Animation, who helps oversee Anime Expo, did release a statement about what happened, about how they were trying to do this in the interest of security, making sure everybody was going through bag check because of all the things that have been going on lately at conventions, and that they do apologize for that, but they will still try to do their best to make sure to get things in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Now, I do imagine you don't want to put anybody's safety on a lower rung than getting people in, but I've heard first-hand reports from people saying cosplayers were scarce to find due to the fact that, one, there was so much more increased security, and two, some people just gave up.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's hard, considering that Anime Expo is not exactly cheap to get into.
No, not at all. It costs, gosh, $60, $70.
Yeah, 70 if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's like $70 to $80 for badges these days. And yeah, the wait starting to become not worth it. We've done AX a few years before.
We've done twice.
Yeah, and to me it just feels like a really big, crowded convention that's just like other conventions in a lot of ways. Sometimes with better guests, but all the same, I don't know that I want to wait that long for that. It's not... I feel like Comic-Con has more to offer and would be more worth waiting in a line that long, you know, rather than Anime Expo. That's just personal opinion.
Yeah, but according to the reports here, it was over 115,000 guests for this year, setting a record for that. If you guys want to try and go next year, be warned, there's probably going to be at least that many people next year.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and move on to what was covered there at Anime Expo. A couple of things that we were privy to. Of course, there was the Fooly Cooly panel, which revealed a short teaser trailer for the upcoming anime for parts 2 and 3. Not very much to see there. A couple of new characters. Of course, Haru Haruko is back there with her trademark Vespa. A lot of people, very hyped to see this again, seeing, Medical Mechanica there in the background. This, of course, will be airing on Toonami. No word yet on casting yet, but hopefully we'll be getting more of that as months go on. The other thing, which you're a little bit more familiar with, was the announcement that Crunchyroll will be distributing a Final Fantasy manga.
See, I had heard about this manga before, and I was doing these reviews. The last couple of anime reviews I did have been what is known as the alternate world genre. Like, it's now a genre, okay?
Because there's been so many of them at this point.
These last 2 anime reviews that I did were based on a teenage dude who is probably a nerd and likes video games, somehow gets transferred and transported to an alternate fantasy world.
Magical
fantasy world where he gets to meet a whole bunch of really cool magical women, and they all do fantasy video game RPG sort of stuff. This particular manga is about a dude who gets his dream job at Square Enix. God, this is so self-insert. Gets his dream job at Square Enix. Then he dies, and then he gets transported to the world of Final Fantasy, and this is like a nondescript fantasy world because it doesn't take place in like Final Fantasy 1 or any specific Final Fantasy. It's Final Fantasy. Dude goes to alternate fantasy world.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Dude goes to alternate Final Fantasy world.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so there's that to be expecting out of Crunchyroll. Over on a different anime front, we've got our first look here at a key image from Bleach, the live-action adaptation of the popular hit manga and anime. This, of course, here being Sota Fukushi there in the role of Ichigo Kurosaki. This will be debuting in Japan next summer. There's supposed to be more information coming out later today about the movie. They wanted to tie this into Tanabata, since over there in Japan that has to do with the myth of Orihime. Orihime also being a namesake of one of the characters there in Bleach.
Then maybe they should have leaked an image of Orihime.
You would think, right?
Yeah.
Like, show the two of them together, since, stuff happens. between them. They're important characters.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
As far as the look goes, yeah, that's what his look is there at the beginning of the series. They haven't said how far in they're going. I imagine they're not going past like the first 13 episodes.
I don't know. I've only ever seen the first episode of Bleach.
I don't know why I keep forgetting that. I just assume you've seen as much Bleach as I have.
No, sir. No, not at all interested in Bleach. Never have been. No. Thanks, Josh. I'm taking this away now.
All right, you can take that away. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some Power Rangers reboot news. So they just had the debut of the movie there in Japan. Very star-studded event. Several actors going out to the event. Several Super Sentai actors. In particular, Yuta Mochizuki, who of course played Tyranno Ranger there in Zyuranger, which we adapted over here as Power Rangers. And there, of course, you can also see Lucky, who is the current Red Ranger, Shishi Red, over on Q Ranger.
Wait until they find out there's no Sentai in this movie. Or Japanese people.
Well, see, it was funny because I was looking at the coverage of it, of what everybody was saying there, specifically the guests for the event, the people who were dubbing over the Power Rangers into Japanese, and the way they're talking about it in a very Japanese style of, you know, the character was very moving, please look forward to it, I had a great time voicing this character, there's something in here for everybody. And then you listen to Decker Montgomery, who plays Jason in the movie, who was there for the event, say, I just want to eat as much food as I can because I have to leave in a day.
Well, I believe him. I understand that.
Yeah, but it was like he couldn't say too much because he doesn't understand what the culture is compared from there to here. Whereas Yuta Mochizuki, when he went up to speak, he said it was great that Super Sentai has been so generational that it could come over there and come back to them. And he would hope that fans of Super Sentai specifically could enjoy the movie.
Oh, although I was seeing people in Japan who were commenting just on the trailers alone back a couple of months ago, and they didn't understand why we took the Zyuranger theme. They didn't understand that It's Morphin Time did not come from Go Busters. Like, Japan, even though they got a Japanese dub of Mighty Morphin back in the day, most people don't seem to know what we did with Power Rangers, it seems. They really don't. I don't know that everybody's gonna understand once it publicly hits. Yes. I really don't.
Okay, and then the other bit of news we have here is in regard to, we were talking to you a little bit about this last week. Now we have more information to bring you about this Kamen Rider Double official sequel. So we have a picture here, some key art from what's going to be called Futo Detectives. This is going to be a manga continuation of the story of the two characters there, Shotaro Hidari and Philip, who combined make the character Kamen Rider Double. This is going to be written by Riku Sanjo, who was the key writer for the series. This is going to debut in Big Comic Spirits, which is a very notable manga publication over there, and it will debut in really one day as far as we're concerned over here on July 8th. So we'll be finding out very quickly how this feels in comparison to the original Double series. It's just interesting to see that all these years later that they're getting a continuation in any form.
Well, it makes sense that it would be a manga, of course. I'm not too terribly shocked or surprised personally. It seems like its popularity has remained and retained for all these years, if you ask me. So I think this is just a natural progression.
Yes, it is notable, like some of you are saying, it does appear that Philip now has green hair, I guess more pushing the idea of his green cyclone memory that he uses to transform. But yes, most likely we'll get more information on that this weekend. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you about that next episode.
Yes.
And then the last thing we'll bring up is a very interesting development there for Superhero Time. So for the longest time now, Superhero Time has aired in Japan from 7:30 to 8:30 there on Sunday mornings. Well, apparently there's been a shakeup over the past week, starting with this next set of Superhero Time heroes that is being pushed back to where normally it would be Super Sentai at 7:30 leading into Kamen Rider at 8.
Right.
Well, now at 9 a.m. it's going to be Kamen Rider leading into Super Sentai.
Well, they're making room for some sort of variety show.
Yes, a variety show there in the morning now, which will last that length of time in between. And then Super Sentai and Kamen Rider will be airing a lot later.
Right.
Now, for a lot of people, this is a staple of the weekend for them, because just like us over here in the West, where we would know, okay, Saturday morning, 7 a.m., be up, that's when stuff starts. You get used to that. You get programmed to that. And then all of a sudden, it's like, no, now you have to wait another hour.
Or two,
you know, depending on how quickly you get up. It's going to be very interesting to see how that happens. That means we're going to be getting whatever translation subs, what have you, later as well. It's really going to throw everybody's clock off.
It's a matter of a couple of hours, yeah.
I'm very interested to see how people are going to react to this once it actually kicks in. But that's it. That's what's going to happen.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Weird transition.
I gave you information.
It's just a terrible segue. But thank you.
Okay.
Sticker, you tried. Good job.
Get to the first story.
Okay, thank you. Well, tell me about Doomfist, Josh.
Doomfist!
Tell me about Doomfist, Josh.
Is here. Don't talk to me about other characters besides Doomfist.
Don't do that.
No, don't tell me what. I'm happy. I've been waiting over a year for Doomfist to show up because, yes, for those of us who play Overwatch, Doomfist has been technically part of Overwatch since the very beginning, when he was teased there in the very first Overwatch animation that we ever got, you know, showing his gauntlet on display there.
Right.
And having Reaper and Widowmaker try to retrieve it, and then Tracer and Winston stop him. So now, finally, over a year after the game started, after it's achieved so much success, now we're finally getting this character of Doomfist. He's in PTR right now. People are already trying him. The servers are getting overloaded with people trying to play him. So yes, we finally got the delivery. We finally got the goods. The one thing we were waiting for.
But it's not Terry Crews.
Unfortunately not. People were really hoping that that was going to be the case. That he would be Terry Crews, since there was that pretty obvious tie-in that we were seeing. Like, hey, he wants to voice him. You know, he could do it. He likes video games.
Yeah.
He showed up at your doorstep. You let him in.
I guess showing up at the doorstep is just really good promotion.
I guess
because somebody famous wants to come to Blizzard, and why would you tell them no?
I guess. The thing about it is, surprisingly enough, as far as those of us who play the game, he's going to be an offensive character, not a tank. Because people were thinking, based off the size of the character's glove, that he would be larger and hulking, and therefore making him a tank.
Well, large and hulking does not automatically equal tank. I absolutely expected him to be a forward, heavy-hitting attack character, based solely on his character description, the kind of character that he is. Yeah, I absolutely expected him to be an attacker, not a tank. This game does not need any more tanks.
I don't know. Tanks are very helpful, especially since, especially with the launch of Orisa. I would think that they would want something to counteract that, and I guess that's what it is when you think about it that way. That he can definitely go through shields with the power that he has there. Anybody who has a shield, Orisa, Diva, Reinhardt, his ability to charge up his rocket punch and blast through them will render any and all shields null. It's just not going to work anymore. The thing is, he's going to have several different powers. He has a passive ability where whenever he does get a hit off, he gets a temporary shield to his character. He also has a surprising, basically what they're calling shotgun knuckles. So his other hand, which actually looks pretty normal, has bullets in it. And he punches bullets at you.
He punches bullets. I think that's amazing.
That's friggin' hardcore.
I think it's amazing.
I think it's amazing. I love the idea. And the thing about it is, this was announced and shown through 2 videos. One with Jeff, you know, there from Blizzard, telling us about all of his different abilities and background, and then also this 2-minute short that came along with it.
Very well animated short, yeah.
Now the thing about it is, it's 2D animated.
I think that's amazing.
Which is the first time we've seen that out of Overwatch. In a very anime-esque style, and I absolutely love it. People saying, hey, come on, Blizzard, Overwatch series, when? Come on, give it to me.
I'd be interested in seeing what kind of, or what studio specifically animated this. I don't know that, I'm sure Blizzard outsourced some of that animation.
Most likely, yes.
So I'd be very interested in knowing what studio, I bet it was a Korean studio more than likely, rather than a Japanese studio.
Whoever did it, they did excellent work, because they were able to so very succinctly get all the characters' feelings down. You know, I felt the lumbering of Winston trying to get across the battlefield as far and as quickly as possible. Genji being able to be the ninja we all hate, jumping around all over the place.
Right.
Tracer being as annoying as hell. But then Doomfist counteracting that so viciously, you know, tearing her chronal accelerator off her, and then she can no longer sync with regular time. It's the kind of thing that I absolutely eat up as a fanboy of this series.
Yeah, you said it, not me.
Now, the thing about it is the addition of Doomfist there into PTR means people are now trying to try out the character and see, well, what's it going to take to stop him? What's it going to take to play him, get used to him? People are already under the impression that you're going to see a lot of Doomfist in the next Overwatch World Cup, now that we actually have him at our disposal, or will in quite short order.
Although, if he's supposed to be somebody that shuts down Reinhardt, I'm hearing all this information about how broken Reinhardt is now. He just doesn't function. Like, hardly, like, they really need to fix him. So
Yes.
what is even the point? I'm a little concerned about what the World Cup is going to look like with a new character that's meant to go up against a character that they just broke.
Yes, that is very worrisome to see how exactly that's going to work, because as I'm seeing now, you know, people putting their videos already on YouTube, several up as it stands, his alt, Meteor, sorry, I just had it here.
You can Control F.
Meteor Strike. So basically what it is a ground and pound. He jumps up into the air, he has a targeting reticle that shows up on the ground, has quite a bit of range, and then he slams down, knocking out, it's an AoE attack once it hits, but I've seen team kills like you wouldn't believe with this thing. And the thing about it is no one Overwatch alt has as much power compared to that, unless you're like, say, Diva or Roadhog, where you just happen to be trapped in it. But this, it doesn't seem like you can run from it very quickly, which is reminiscent of other ults that we've had there in the series, but then have since been nerfed or modified. But since this is fresh out the gate, you can imagine people are going to be spamming this thing like nobody's business whenever they get the chance.
Easily. The internet's been reacting amazingly to the reveal of Doomfist. They all loved the animated short, and you were saying just a little while ago that like they're crashing Blizzard servers just trying to get in and play. So it is exciting, despite the fact that I feel like, man, I wish that what is this notification that I'm getting right now? Thank you for the follow, Shag Onion. Appreciate that very much. I wish that I could see some good head-on Doomfist against Reinhardt. I really want to see it.
I was theorizing with my Overwatch team earlier today, you know, when this broke, you know, we all had to start talking, what's it going to take him out? Now, you would imagine that there's a possibility that Reinhardt would be the go-to guy, but since he's still kind of broken, you can't rely on that, so what are you going to need? Really, you have to find a way to get him off balance, and you have to find a way to get him out quickly. So what you're looking at is the potential to stun him, either McCree's flashbang or on a sleep dart. That way you have a chance against him, you know, catch him off guard, and then take him out, use kind of a stun sniper combo. If you can use Anna's sleep dart on him, wait for him to get up, and then have Widow take him out, then that would probably be the best.
Yes, definitely. And thank you, Pianina. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but thank you also for the follow. So to kind of wrap this up, exciting.
Yes.
He's not in full play yet.
No, he's in PTR right now, so people have a chance to test him out.
Okay, so they're probably going to rebalance him. I highly expect for them to nerf him a bit before they release him fully. When are we supposed to expect him to get a full release?
Within about a week, I believe.
Okay, cool.
So yes, I do believe, yes, Junkrat's trap might work, but that goes into his whole thing about the best defense. Basically, anytime he deals damage, he gets that shield. So you better hope you can take him out quickly before he has a chance to get back up again.
Definitely.
But yes, very much looking forward to getting the chance to play as Doomfist. I'm glad he's there. I also like the bit of lore that they're talking about, how he and Reaper are part of the overarching evil organization Talon, and that there are other characters, other higher-ups that we haven't met yet.
They're still gonna reveal more roster later.
Yes.
They gotta save something for us. It's only been a year.
A little over now, year and change. But this lends credence to the idea that the next hero we get after this, based off how they've been going back and forth, will be a hero.
Okay, good.
So hopefully later on this year we'll get another hero character. Hopefully by then more people will have learned to counter or use Doomfist correctly.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, we're done.
Yes, okay, so let's go ahead and talk about some other video game-ish thing.
So you're looking at Assassin's Creed right now. We're not going to be talking about a game, although we did, of course, get news of a new game over E3, but we kind of talked about that back this past week. No, this is going to tie more closely to the Castlevania series that's going to come out in just a few more hours here on Netflix.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about this, Josh. Tell me about director, how it's being produced.
Okay, so Castlevania producer Adi Shankar, or director I should say, who's working there on the series, revealed earlier this week on his Facebook that the next project he's going to be working on after Castlevania is an Assassin's Creed animated series.
So we do know for certain that it's animated.
Yes.
Okay, that's really interesting because I do feel like maybe that is the correct direction to go in, because we saw the Assassin's Creed film.
Yes, we
that
did.
Came out relatively recently in the grand scheme of things.
Back in December.
Yeah, and that wasn't so good.
No.
Not one of the better movies I've seen.
It was very dry.
Yeah, super dry.
But in that sense, it was a lot like the first game.
It had, yes, but it had little threads of what made the games, but at the same time, it went in its own direction, and it didn't have the thing that would make it a good movie. I don't know how to tell you what that needs to be, but I'm really hoping, I think Castlevania will be a good indication of just how well Adi can do other video game related properties in animated form. Realize too, he's the guy who did Power/Rangers, that thing that he later called a parody, but when he originally made it, he was serious about just how serious he wanted to make those Power Rangers.
But he had also done Dread.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I feel like what he really wants to do, and he did this other side project before too, in regards to the Punisher. Did you ever see that short film that he made? Yeah,
Laundry Day, which was actually pretty cool because he brought back Thomas Jane as Punisher.
Because I feel like clearly that's what he's meant to do. He's meant to make things that are hyper-violent, and I think he needs to carefully pick what he turns hyper-violent, but I feel like maybe Castlevania's okay for that, so long as it's animated. Assassin's Creed, we're murdering people all over the place. Yeah. Assassin is in the name, so maybe that's gonna be okay.
Now, the thing about it is, we have to take into account that now that we're getting Castlevania tomorrow, and that's going to help push whatever they've got in mind for Assassin's Creed. Now we're getting to a point where it's been a minute since we've gotten any cartoon out of, or animated property, I should say, out of a video game. Because you remember back in the early to mid-90s, we got quite a few of those. You got your Sat AM Sonics, you got your Super Mario Brothers Super Show, Donkey Kong Country, all these other things. But it was all very kid-friendly at the time.
Right.
And now we're getting to a point where it's like, you know what, I really like this show, but this is the one time I'll take the idea of, I want it to grow up with me.
Yes.
And I want to see what it can do. So the idea that we're doing this now, I think if they can pull it off, and I think this is where they're going with it, if they can pull this off, that they can get the really violent, more adult-themed remake of a video game property, that we will see a lot more of these. Starting with Castlevania and then eventually Assassin's Creed. Who knows what we'll see next? Far Cry, the animated series, or something like that.
What is being made of Far Cry right now? Is it a film or a TV series?
I think you're thinking of Uncharted.
Oh,
They're talking about Uncharted with Tom Holland.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yes, so yes. I think it's totally possible that I really strongly feel like people want video game related entertainment, even if so very often like films just keep failing.
Yeah.
Even though films keep failing, people are saying, what's the one that's gonna land? What is it? Can we finally do it? Same with anime, really.
Yeah.
So, but best of both worlds, right? My understanding is Castlevania's only gonna be 4 episodes?
Is it?
That's what I heard, that it's only gonna be 4 episodes, and, you know, maybe it's gonna make it really easy to marathon. It may as well just be a movie, I guess. So, animated video game movie.
Well, see, the thing is, we've gotten a couple of those with, like, say, Halo or things like that, where you get a short little property. And yes, of course, now we've got Sonic Boom, what makes Sonic Boom work is that it's so self-aware.
And it's still totally for children, with nods to the people who've been playing it for decades.
Right, so. Exactly. You have to know where your audiences lay. And the thing about it here is that I think you've got something there talking about how... that's the good medium, having a animated movie or animated series of a video game nowadays. Case in point, the Overwatch thing. I would watch a full 2 hours with that style, telling me the story of how Doomfist came to power. Show me how the Gibraltar base fell. Show me something of that. You know, when they've got a good story and all this breadth of things to pull from, I think more people are willing to accept animation nowadays.
I think that's true, but I also think at the same time, we're still waiting for people to fully accept animation as a medium that's not entirely for children, that everybody can watch. I think the mass majority of the American public, for example, doesn't want to go see an animated movie, because there's a stigma of it being animated. And that's it. That's all it takes. I think most people will not go see an animated movie just because they think it's got to be family friendly.
But certainly you can argue over the last several years with the rise in the popularity of anime, with as many Fathom events that occur of the great movies, you know, re-airing Akira or Ghost in the Shell, or different Miyazaki movies, that people are starting to wake up to the idea that it's not just for kids, it's an art form.
Yeah.
It's a storytelling medium that can be used by anybody.
Exactly.
And as such, I think that's how they were able to sell that to Netflix to make Castlevania to begin with.
So then, let's talk about speculation then. What is this Assassin's Creed series about? Do we start with... which assassin? Do we make up an entirely new assassin?
Well, we've already tried making up a new assassin with... Michael Fassbender's character there, so I don't think they want to do that. Based off his quote here, Shankar writes, I played the first edition of Assassin's Creed the year I moved to LA to pursue my dream. At that moment, I knew absolutely nobody in the industry could never have imagined that one day Ubisoft would ask me to take the world of Assassin's Creed and create an original story set. It's set in as an anime series. If anybody tells you not to follow your passion in life, they're wrong.
He says create an original story.
So the thing about it is the two things you want to pull from, create an original story and the first edition of Assassin's Creed. So it's one or the other, I imagine. One, your idea
No, it's definitely an original story. He said right here, I could never have imagined that one day Ubisoft would ask me to take the world of Assassin's Creed and create an original story set in it as an anime series.
He says original story, he doesn't say original character.
That is true. That is true.
Now, what I'm taking from that is the first part there, first edition of Assassin's Creed. If any part of that series needs punching up, it's the first installment.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, I just murdered guards over and over and over again relentlessly. The guards were not very smart, and although everyone was always yelling at me, why do you just keep parrying all the attacks? Just fight them like normal. But I'm winning. And then there are like literally 50 bodies at my feet. And then a new guard will come up and be like, who did this? Where are you? I'll find you.
Well, see, my whole thing doing it was I would be a dick to the guards, like, hey, guard, come here. I gotta tell you something. Shink! You dead.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be making jokes to myself to get through it.
Or I would...
Because I like stealth stuff.
Or I'd let the guards know who I am, and I'd run from them, and they'd want to chase me all the way back to the Assassin's Embassy.
Yeah.
Yeah, their little what did I just say?
Embassy?
Embassy. Take them all the way up on the roof, and the embassy closes if there's a bunch of guards fighting you right now, but I'm like, hey, all of you, come up here. So 15 guards will follow me up onto the roof. I kill all of them, then the roof opens up. Whoop, 15 dead bodies fall into the embassy. Like, it's not a very smart game. The first game is not a very smart game.
But you can make it enjoyable if you so choose.
Oh, yeah, easily. So I hope that they make it enjoyable by spicing it up in some way, shape, or form.
Well, because I think about it, like, if they bothered just telling the basic story of Desmond Miles, you know, going from the first game of his experiences, remembering Altair all the way over to Assassin's Creed 3, that's its own series. That's fine. I would sooner watch that than play that at this point. I don't think they're going to do Callum Lynch, because Callum Lynch obviously didn't catch on with anybody with the movie. Maybe if they want to roll the dice, that's on them. But I think easier money is on going with the characters you already know. Point being with Castlevania, they're going with a Belmont we know.
Yes.
Not inventing a new Belmont for the series. It's like, no, it's Simon, right, that they're going with? No, Trevor.
It's whoever's 3.
They're going with Trevor.
They're going with 3, Castlevania 3, yeah.
I would fully believe that that's what they're going with, that they would go with an already known assassin, they're specifically going with Desmond. I imagine we'll be hearing more development towards this once we start hearing the reactions from people once they get a taste of Castlevania in just a few hours.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll learn more later.
Yes.
That's enough speculation for now. So, gosh, games, okay? This was
so yeah, this is kind of a game-heavy show tonight. First two things we wanted to talk about, because I love Overwatch. I started out playing Assassin's Creed. You played Assassin's Creed for a bit. And then there's phone games. Yeah,
mobile games that are tied into social networks.
And sometimes somebody at a network thinks it might be a good idea to take the mobile game, the social media game, and have Mario Lopez host a live version of it in front of a studio audience. And that's what happened.
And this is Candy Crush, guys. Candy Crush is a thing that now exists.
On CBS.
And it's starting this weekend.
So what you guys are seeing behind us, if you haven't seen it before already, is a 2-team version of the cell phone game, Facebook game Candy Crush, turned into a game show. We've been over here, we barely found out about it maybe an hour before we were getting ready to start our prep.
Granted, maybe I should have known about it sooner, because this trailer's actually been out for a while now, but it's making the news again because it's airing this weekend, and now a little 2D animated Mario Lopez is now inside Candy Crush.
Available in the actual game proper.
My question is, now?
My question is, why?
Well, I would have understood why maybe, 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, okay? When Candy Crush was at like an all-time high.
At a fever pitch.
And you were getting non-stop notifications from friends who were like, hey, help join me and give me energy to play more Candy Crush so that I don't have to spend real money, because without you I will actually spend real money to try and clear the stage. Oh my god, like, it's just Bejeweled, but it's candy instead of jewels.
Yeah.
Okay? And now we're gonna rappel down onto a really large touchscreen mat for Candy Crush, or we're gonna do this window climbing and from the looks
scaffolding.
Of it, yeah, kind of scaffolding looking rig. So it looks like one partner is like controlling the other partner on the scaffolding rig, and then he's got to go like flip candy and switch places with them, and it looks like it's supposed to be really high intensity. It's got all the correct font, it's got all the correct logos, it's got the same announcer.
It's officially sponsored.
Oh yeah, it's got the same announcer from the mobile games, and it's just saying, sweet. It's like, oh my god.
But here's my question. Like, somebody had to, either you had to lie about the answer, or you lied that you didn't have to answer the question. why would I want to watch somebody else play a cell phone game? Because think about it. Like, how exactly are they making this work? Is this an actual touchpad that you've put money into to let these random teams go up and play Candy Crush? Or is it what I think it is, and it's just a projection of somebody's cell phone backstage, and it's like, okay, he tapped that one.
Yeah, because
he tapped that one.
I very highly doubt that it's actually touchscreen sensitive.
Yeah.
These big floor panels, because, you know, they have to run on them.
Yes.
Is it also I have to assume somebody in the back is going, okay, switch this now. And thank you, Danker McGee.
Thank you.
Thank you for the follow.
Now, some people here in the chat are asking, are there going to be microtransactions? So, if you're failing at getting as many candies off the screen as possible, do you give Mario Lopez like $5 and then he tells somebody to wipe the screen?
Does Mario Lopez need $5? Isn't he still doing like some radio show right now?
Or Access Hollywood or Extra, whatever he's doing?
So now, actual Candy Crush is doing in-game promotional game stuff, as mobile games are prone to do. You know, they have promo. This is the event that we're doing now. So Candy Crush Saga is a thing they're doing. Candy Crush Soda Saga. Candy Crush Jelly Saga. You know what? It doesn't matter. Mario Lopez is now in Candy Crush. And there's this horrifying image that I'm looking at right now that I'm not sharing with you guys. Thank you to Outlast Lifestyle for the follow as well.
Thank you.
Appreciated.
Well, see, because here's what I'm thinking. So, the thing about it is, if this does well, heaven forbid it does well. If it does well, what comes next?
Do we get more live versions of other mobile games?
Do we get Fruit Ninja, the game show? Do we get Temple Run, the game show?
Do we go all the way back to Farmville?
Oh god, no. Do we get Snake, the game show?
Who's been playing Snake lately?
Well, you know, sometimes you find an old, you know, Nokia brick from, like, 1999.
You know what was really good that I really liked and saw back when we were at Tokyo Game Show in 2015? I play Love Live on mobile.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a rhythm game, and you collect a whole bunch of high school girls to all have them sing the stupid idol group, and you put them into teams, and you tap buttons to the rhythm. That's it. What I saw was really fun. They had a setup for Love Live that was a live setup, and they put a different person on each panel where the girls are supposed to be that you're supposed to tap.
Yes, yes.
And they made the dudes jump on the pad when the icon dropped down to where they're supposed to hit it. So you're watching like 9 dudes jumping up and down.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah. So that was funny to look at. It would need to be kind of elaborated upon to actually make it exciting, because that was just what a funny way to use a controller to control this mobile game. You would have to. How do you even begin to spice up other mobile games? Because clearly they took this and they thought, Candy Crush, we need to make it live action, but we can't just film somebody doing... Sweet. You can't just film that.
Tasty.
Who came up with the idea of rappelling down from the ceiling and telling somebody on the ground, okay, you need to swap these 2 things here? They just made Candy Crush harder, really. Which I guess that's the way you make television.
And the thing about it is, like, when you have to make it a 2-person game, when it's a 1-person game, then you have to find a way to make it more difficult. So essentially, if we're understanding this correctly, one person looking at the screen layout and the other person having to touch it, one person is a person and the other person is the finger.
Basically, yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
That's
too many brains working on one task, you know?
And the thing about it is, like if they have, like, some game shows do where it's like, you know, married couple versus married couple, alright, get out there. Like, are they gonna have an argument later? Like, you know, we wouldn't have lost if I'd been the finger.
Wouldn't have lost Candy Crush.
I wouldn't have lost all that money on Candy Crush. Well, you didn't have to give Mario Lopez $20. That was gas money. We didn't even get that back. And the thing about it is, yeah, people are wondering, Like, I would sooner watch live-action Fruit Ninja. Don't give me the screen. Just give me somebody with a rusty katana and throw fruit at them. That would be way more interesting.
You could only do it in Japan. They're the get Beat Takeshi to host.
Get Beat Takeshi to host it.
The show where they're throwing pineapples at someone who has no skill in holding a sword, and get this person with no skill in holding a sword to swing.
Give him an eye patch. Give him a handicap.
Oh no!
But it would be so amazingly entertaining.
It would, yeah.
And the thing about it is that makes more sense. Quiplash, the show. People stream enough Quiplash as it is. We don't need to watch that as a network television game show.
No, we already have that. It's on Comedy Central. It's at midnight.
Well, okay, essentially, yeah, that can be viewed as Quiplash.
Yeah, it's totally at midnight.
Okay, so yeah, then we already have that show. My question now, since this is already a thing, how long is it gonna last? How long before this thing bombs out? Because you know it's gonna bomb.
Oh yeah, easily, because the window of popularity of Candy Crush, it's gone.
It came and went.
Who decided to green? Well, CBS. There's the problem. It's CBS, and CBS is a bunch of old people that airs a bunch of television for a bunch of old people, and they don't know what people actually want or like, and they dropped money on Candy Crush in 2017? I don't understand.
You know what I almost see happening, and it makes so much sense because it's CBS? They'll have the crossover episode where inexplicably the characters and cast from Big Bang Theory will end up playing on the show.
Don't do this.
They'll do it. You know they'll do it. It'll be just like Family Matters when they had Carl and Steve get on American Gladiators.
Oh, that's
It'll be just like that.
No, that's alright.
It'll happen.
Remember that, though. I do remember.
But at least that was funny. And American Gladiators at the time was entertaining. I watched a lot of American Gladiators back in the day.
Okay, we need to stop this right now.
Yeah, so let's not watch the show.
Yeah. Just don't
watch it. Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done with this kid.
Okay, great. So that's where we're going to wrap up this portion of the show. Thank you so much for sticking with us through everything that has happened tonight. Please definitely stick around for the next half an hour so that we can do live Q&A with all of you. If you're watching this not so live on YouTube later on down the road, thank you for watching. I do wish you would come and join us, however, on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Central so that you can interact with everyone here live during the show, as well as what we're going into now, the Q&A session, which otherwise you will never get to see.
Yes, and of course, during the week, you can always talk to us over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at JoshKnight1st.
And I'm at MarsGirl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We will see you guys again next episode.
Thank you, everybody. Please stay here.
But don't actually go anywhere.
Please stay here.
We're still here.